Hey everyone, welcome back to a new malicious compliance video. I hope you had a great day. The first story is called Only Men. This happened a few months ago. I'm a 21 years old female and I live in the same city as the restaurant I work in. I usually go by car, takes about 10 minutes, but sometimes I walk to work, around 30 minutes. In January a big storm came down here in Spain. We aren't used to that and therefore prepared for that. I went to work on a Thursday when it started snowing, but we had to close for the weekend because there was a lot of snow. People couldn't go to work as trains, buses and roads were closed. And there wouldn't be a lot of customers for the same reason. We had the drive-thru and the terrace full of snow, and our boss told the workers who lived in the same city to come to remove the snow, as it would take time before the city council helped us. He wanted to make sure that we could open earlier. His words were, "Boys who live in the city go to the restaurant to remove the snow." And in another message he went on and said the names of the men that live in the city. In Spanish, boys can refer to only boys or to males and females, but with how he worded it, he meant only men. I had already planned not to go to remove the snow because a 30-minute walk could have become 1 hour with all the snow, and because it wasn't my job. But because my boss worded the message like that, I could simply wash my hands. When everything went back to normal, the boss asked me why I didn't come to help, and I told him only men had to help. The next story is called We Can't Give You a Key. Years ago I lived in a trailer park. It was a manufactured home community. They were nice trailers, but they were still trailers. During a summer, when I inherited my dad's little fishing boat, I was informed I wasn't allowed to park the boat in our driveway. It fit completely in the driveway and did not hang out onto the road. When I mentioned that this rule was nowhere in my lease, they said, "Oh, the rule was just changed this year, it will be on your next lease." And it was. I asked what they expected me to do with my boat, and they said, "There's a community lot at the end of the block where tenants are expected to park their trailers and boats, you can park it there for free." Great, that will free up space in my driveway then. I decided to play along instead of fighting it, and when I went to get my boat out of the lot that Saturday, the gate was locked. I impatiently stomped over to the office, telling them I wasn't told the gate would be locked and I wasn't given a key to get my boat out. "Oh, the residents don't get keys to that gate." "Hold up, you are requiring me to park my boat there, but you're not giving me access to my boat?" "All you have to do is call the park maintenance guy when you need to get something out and he will come to open it up." Now I tried to argue with her about how inconvenient that is for literally everyone involved and how it would be so much simpler to just make a bunch of copies of the key and sign one over to each person who has to keep something there. Heck, let me borrow the key right now and I will go down to the hardware store and I will pay to get my own copy made. You could even make us all sign for the keys with a fee if we lose it. So we don't do that for security reasons. If there are multiple keys floating around out there, anyone could get access to your boat. I decided to ignore how stupid that was, since if my boat was in my driveway where I really wanted it, anyone could get access to it, and that's what tongue locks are for. So I just smiled and said, "You know what, you're right, I wasn't thinking clearly. Please give me the phone number for the maintenance guy and I will just give him a call when I need to get my boat out." I went home and checked the weather for the weekend. Warm, sunny and calm all Sunday. Sounds like a perfect day for fishing. And you know what, I want to make the most out of my fishing trip, so I'm going to get an early start. I woke up at 5 in the morning, got myself all ready, packed my gear into the back of my truck and drove on over to the trailer lot. I then called the maintenance guy, who answers with a groggy and clearly still half asleep "Hello?" Me in my best chipper voice. "Good morning, I was told I have to call you to get my trailer out of the lot." "It's like 5 in the morning, you're going to have to wait." "No sir, I've got things to do today and I need to get an early start, so I'm going to need to get into that lot now." He had a noticeable irritation in his voice. "Give me 5 minutes. About 10 minutes later he pulls up to the gate, very visibly disgruntled about the whole thing. I just give him a smile and a good morning. He asked as he's unlocking the door, "You need your trailer to move tree limbs or something?" "Oh no, my boat's on it and I need it for fishing." "That couldn't wait until a decent hour?" "No, my life doesn't revolve around your sleep schedule. Of course, if I had my own key to this gate, you wouldn't need to be here at all." I had a great day fishing. When I got back, the gate was no longer locked and I never saw a lock on it again. The third story is called Call Every Time. I went to school and immediately became the world's worst resident advisor on a college campus to avoid moving back home. Instead of being in a normal hall with crazy freshmen, I was put into a complex that had grad students, people with children and some others mixed in. I was pretty relaxed about the rules, unless someone was making it hard on someone with young kids. The setup of the dorm was more of a complex, 7 different stacks of apartments with 4 floors and a connecting basement. You couldn't walk from one section to another continuously. You would need to go downstairs and exit the building, then come back in at another entrance. You can't even get to the office with all the keys without leaving the building. The rules said that we needed to be on call from the hours of 8 PM to 7 AM and you needed to sit in the office from 8 PM to midnight and complete rounds around the building throughout the night. Even though I was pretty relaxed about the rules, I was able to intervene in some scary situations and help out. My direct supervisor tried to make it as easy as possible for us to do our jobs. There was a phone in the office that you could forward to your cell phone, so that you could respond to calls anywhere on campus. I may or may not have gone to the art studio to work or gone to other buildings on campus to hang out until I received a call and would walk back to my building to help. Other halls did not have this luxury and needed to use either the office phone in the hall or an advisor phone located in their room. Other advisors caught wind that we could forward it to our cell phones and complained. Remember, I have a massive multi-section complex with about 20 entrances and exits to patrol. Because of the size of the complex, if I were to follow the rules and only use my room phone, I would need to walk up and down 4 flights of stairs to make calls back to people. And I would be a good 5-minute walk away from the phone just while doing my mandatory rounds. On a peak weekend, I received 81 calls in 2 days. The admins decided they wanted to force us to use the provided phones and not forward them to our cell phones. There was also a stern reminder that under no circumstances are we to leave the building without calling a supervisor first. Okay, bad. I was the senior advisor and told my coworkers that we were absolutely going to follow those rules and under no circumstances were we to leave the building without calling the supervisor. I reiterated that we needed to call them to let them know we were exiting the building no matter what time of night it was. Remember how you can't walk through the building without exiting and re-entering each of the 7 parts of the complex? So for a few nights I made sure to call my supervisor every time I did a walkthrough of the building. That meant a minimum of 21 calls a night for the mandatory 3 walkthroughs of 7 sections. I made sure my coworkers did the same, and that was on top of every single time someone was locked out and I needed to physically walk outside the complex to get to the office. I think it lasted 1 weekend and the official rulebook was changed. The next story is called Crazy Mother-in-Law. November last year, I gave birth to our first baby. It's the first in my family and the 6th in my husband's family. It's important to say that all the 6 kids are boys and my mother-in-law is in some sick baby girl's babies. Ever since we made the announcement, my mother-in-law convinced herself that I was pregnant with a girl. I told her that once we knew the gender, she would be the first one to know. We told her it was a boy. She still was convinced it was a girl. She told the whole side of the family it was a girl. I corrected it, but she told them I was just annoyed because I wanted a boy first. I wanted a healthy baby. I didn't care about anything else. She also told them we are naming the girl after her mom, which we will never do because my husband hates his grandma. When the baby shower gifts started to come, I noticed a lot of things that weren't in the register, embroidered things with grandma's name. And it didn't matter that we told them the gender in the name and made it clear we are not lying about the gender. Everyone believed her. Well, the baby was born, and imagine this surprise, it was a boy, just like we have been telling everyone. The problem for them was that now the baby had plenty of girly clothes, pink onesies, etc. And we are dressing our baby with them, especially for his family video calls and for pictures for them. After a Saturday call, my mother-in-law called us to scream at us because we are making the elders uncomfortable for not sticking to the masculine color scheme for the baby clothes. And we have to stop being this childish. She just thought my belly shape was more like a girl than for a boy. We told her we will not change the baby clothes and to just wait until the dresses fit. He will look adorable. The last story is called Not His Best Idea. I had been out for the night and was driving home. Despite having been in an establishment serving alcoholic drinks, I hadn't been partaking in booze because having just one alcoholic drink then stopping tends to make me sleepy and or wanting more. So I drank coffee and soft drinks all night. I was hungry and I actually enjoy kebabs as fast food. I saw a kebab shop and stopped, ordering a large kebab with chili sauce. I ate my food and continued on my journey. Shortly after my stop, I arrived at a set of traffic lights with a filter lane for turning right. Here in the UK, some traffic lights have a stoplight for the filter lane as well as a green arrow. Others have a green arrow for when you can turn without any interference, but you can go when the main light turns green too. A light dusting of rain started and I thought it was the latter type. It was only halfway through the turn, with no traffic at all. I realized it was the former and I had technically won a red light. Oops, oh well. A white transit van followed me through and started following me really close. When I looked through my ring mirror, I could see the blue lights on top of this van flashing. This was before they routinely had lights in the front grille. I pull over. 2 police officers get out of the van. The first one asked me to turn off the ignition and talk to him on the pavement. The other one is walking round and round my car. Where have you been out? With some friends for the evening. Have you been drinking? Nope, no point in just having one. Ramble through my explanation. I stopped for some food and I'm off home. Yes, we started following you at the kebab place, so no drinking? I said nope and I realized they definitely noticed the illegal right turn and breaking it. Then Officer 1 told me to brief on him. Are you sure? I've just had a... Yes, just brief on me. Well, half a dozen cups of black coffee and a kebab covered in chili sauce made for breath, which most people wouldn't want near them. Not like I was going home to anyone, so not a big problem for me, but since he insisted, I breathed on him, where he'd place his face 6 inches from mine. He seemed to gain an extra articulation in his spine as he tried to bend backward away from the smell. He coughed and eventually spluttered, "Thank you sir, that's all." I drove home with a massive grin. The other officer looked like he couldn't stop laughing as I left, and Officer 1 looked green. Moral, don't interrupt people when they are trying to warn you. All because he couldn't be bothered with the paperwork for breathalyzing someone who was sober. Thanks for watching the video, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like, comment and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps in the algorithm. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.